What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, saints and ain'ts, and welcome to Lactic Acid. I'm your host, Dominique Smith. I hope everybody's holiday is as lit as a Christmas tree so far, and if it's not, I can assure you today's guest and this episode will get you in the holiday spirit. She is a certified baller, shot caller. I have a real-life superhero on the show because she has the power to defeat everybody in the Marvel Universe. She has on her own network, the Sandy Boy Production podcast network, where she has her podcast, I'll Have Another. Why are people yelling? Why is everyone yelling? Same thing. Why is everybody yelling? Where amazing guests come on the show and they drop a wealth of knowledge as well as words that I cannot understand. And she is a part of the relay squad with some of the best in the business, doing big things, changing the game one episode at a time, dropping episodes like Waffle Mix Batter at Waffle House. She is none other than the legend, Mrs. Lindsey Hein. How you doing? I appreciate you coming on the show.
I mean, that's the most fun intro I've ever received in my entire life.
Listen, I mean, it's all facts. We don't make stuff up on this show. All thriller, no filler. That's how we do. That's how we roll on here. I appreciate you coming on. Like literally, like I was thinking about it. Like you have more power than Scarlet Witch with like everything that you do and accomplish like on an hourly basis. It's just like, nah, like I don't know how humans can do it. But I didn't even say she was a marathoner. She ran like 42 marathons and everything like that. So gosh, I mean, the list goes on and on. But I've been asking everybody this, and I'm sorry about my screen. I didn't put two and two together when I put this beautiful jacket on and sitting in a black chair. So anything is rocking. So forgive everybody watching YouTube. If you're listening, then just keep listening. Don't even worry about it. It don't apply to you. But let's just say Hallmark and Food Network, they actually screwed, not Hallmark, Yankee Candle.
Okay.
And Food Network. They've been watching and listening to your network, the Sandy Boys Production Network.
Okay.
And they've been listening to I'll Have Another since it dropped in the 2016 year of our Lord. And they have kids too. So they were, people are yelling. So let me just go and listen to somebody talk about it. And they said, this Lindsey is a really big doggone deal. She epitomizes greatness, and that's what we're about. And so we want to celebrate her awesomeness. What we're going to do is we're going to do a custom promotion around her on this holiday season because, Christmas just ain't Christmas without the one you love. Shout out to the OJs who came up with that beautiful ballad. And they said, we're going to do something special. So Yankee Candle said, you know what? We need to get her a custom candle, holiday scented candle. She chooses the scent, she chooses the type of jar, everything is just whatever she wants. Food Network was like, you know what, we already got all these baking shows, the cookie challenge, the baking challenge, and all that stuff, the gingerbread houseman challenge, all of that. So let's do something better. Let's give her a custom meal. Usually it has to be a burger or pizza, or if it's too good to be true, something in your head, then you can choose that. But whatever she chooses, we will put it on every menu of everything we're affiliated with in this world. So I need that candle, and I need that custom meal with a bonus, custom ice cream as well.
Well, I feel like I'm just the most basic person ever.
That's all right.
My candles, my favorite candle is like a coffee like chocolate scent. Like I want everything to be like warm and fall. And so my favorite candle of all time is Evil Queen Candles. It's called Damn It's Early. And that is my favorite. And I buy them, like I buy like 6 at a time so that I can always have one going. And then it's like my go-to gift if I get invited somewhere or need to bring something with me last minute. The food would be probably some sort of big burrito because I feel like burritos can encompass a lot of things. Like you can get a lot of different kinds of food inside a burrito. Like you can have a breakfast burrito, you can have a bean burrito. I don't eat meat, but if I ate meat, you could have a chicken burrito. And then the ice cream is going to have to be probably cookie dough with chocolate syrup.
So we got to go back to this burrito. What's in the burrito? Like I need, like, what are you putting in that burrito?
Well, in my burritos, we usually do like just a mix of veggies and black beans and cheese and salsa and guacamole. But I also love a breakfast burrito. So,
Okay.
I mean, if you're only going to serve it the same burrito, though, I would do the veggie bean option rather than the breakfast because I feel like I'd want that more often.
Okay. Okay. I can dig it. The candle, you're actually the second person to come on this show. Shout out to Tori Parkinson. To tell me that you want a coffee scented candle.
Yeah.
As a brother who hates coffee, that is just something that my mind cannot. That's like, telling Santa Claus he has to drink skim milk with his cookies.
Has to be a sweet coffee though. It has to be like
so that frappa crappa.
Yeah, there's like flavor in it.
Okay. Well, who would sell it? Who would you want to kind of be the lead behind it? Starbucks or Dunkin'?
Oh, Starbucks for sure.
Okay.
Oh, I never go to Dunkin'. I will never choose a Dunkin'. I actually would just choose not to get coffee.
What did they do to you? Like what?
I don't know. I've just never been satisfied. So I'm like, it's not even worth it.
Okay, it was probably because Starbucks spells your name right, or they listen to the podcast, is what I'm guessing.
Yeah, big fans. Hey, shout out to Starbucks. I spend like $1 million a week on you. So if you want to sponsor my podcast, come on over.
Nah, for real. Sponsor the podcast. There's like important people that come on the podcast that's more important than Starbucks. Listen, that would be like free coffee, whatever the case might be. I'm down for it.
I'm all about the supporting local, but Starbucks is like, I know what I'm getting and it's easy. I can order ahead. And so I'm one of those people. I just give into it.
All thriller, no filler, no discrimination, no hate on this show. I'm with it. So if you want to smell like a cinnamon frap latte or whatever y'all call it or whatever, I'm down with it. I'm down with it. So it's all good. It's all good. As I alluded to just a moment ago, Lindsey is a freaking big deal. Because I've watched a few of your episodes, and your podcasting style is so unique because you have like a honey badger level swag that like puts the episodes over the top because it's just so like free flowing and you're so open and honest, and then your guests feel like they can be the same way. That's why I was like, this is like Scarlet Witch no, this is steps above that. There are levels to this, and obviously you've hit the top level. How much fun are you having recording not just I'll Have Another, which I gotta say this, I've heard it all. Your sisters, you were in a group text with your sisters, and then I'll Have Another came. Am I getting this right?
Yeah. They I was trying to name the podcast and we were just spitting off like, what should we name it? And one of my sisters is like super witty and kind of funny, and she thought of I'll Have Another. She was kind of thinking of it more of like I'll have another like glass of wine. Like that was what she was thinking. But at the time it was like I'll have another marathon. I'll have another conversation. I'll have another baby because I was pregnant with my third baby. And so it was just like, in my mind, it was like, whatever you're doing, go have another. Go enjoy it. Go have another. So I hope people feel that when they listen to an episode. Like, I'll have another episode.
Yeah, I mean, that's just me with fried chicken.
Yeah.
I'll have another piece.
Oh, totally.
So I feel that on a spiritual level.
Yeah.
But it fits everything, like you said. I don't know about I'll Have Another marathon. My knees ache at the sight, but I don't know. It's like fun to listen to. It's some of the stuff is like not even I'll Have Another, but why are we yelling? Why are you yelling?
Why are we yelling? It's why is everyone yelling?
So I am so sorry. I keep screwing that up,
Don't
but
be sorry.
I just keep like, why is everyone yelling?
But that
But so,
applies to multiple things too, because like, why is everyone yelling? It's what I say at my home all the time as a parent, but also like, I feel like everybody's always yelling in the world. So it's like, just a collective. Why is everyone yelling?
yeah, I mean, honestly, if you did another podcast, I would hope it would be like be called "Shut Up" or something like
Yeah,
that.
something like that.
Um, but how much fun are you having, doing this? Especially you're producing content, like running water, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, when I do multiple episodes in a week on certain shows, like I just wrapped up a New York City Marathon series and I'll have another. So I did 4 episodes a week on that one, or 3 episodes, and then another episode on Why Is Everyone Yelling. That is a lot. Thankfully, I have an editor now. I did that on my own for 5 years
Mm,
and hired
Lord
someone.
have mercy.
Yeah, it was a lot. And now that she does it, my editor Emma, who is amazing, I can't imagine having that on my plate still. And every once in a while, I have to edit an episode still, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so much work. I can't believe I was doing this so frequently. And but yeah, I have a lot of fun with it. I think when I go lengths of time without interviews, I start to feel like I'm really missing something in my life. And I just, I'm home all the time. So being able to connect with people through these interviews feels really good. Like it gives me some socialization.
Yeah,
That
and you
sounds really
have
lame, I know, but I work from
no.
home and I'm just here a lot. So it's like, it's a really good way because when you work for yourself, you don't have a team that you're like connecting with all the time. Like my husband's over on calls with like all these people that he works with, and I'm like, hey, just me here.
Yeah, like come on, man. No, I feel that like you're getting a chance to see someone else, you're getting a chance to have like different adult conversations, but with you have like 6 full-time jobs. um Being a parent of 4 is a full-time job.
Yes.
um this podcasting, each episode is a full-time job because there's a lot of research that goes into it, because you have to make sure that you don't sound like an idiot when you don't talk to the guest. And then you have this Sandy Boy production hit. I remember listening to an episode when you were talking about how scared you were to start it. It was
Mm-hmm.
with somebody that sounded really important. It was a few years ago. And so because he was saying, like, yeah, I'm a successful businessman. I'm like, oh my gosh, they emailed me about student loans. Like, I don't know
I
if I
don't know.
should
I
just
wonder who that was.
I can't remember his name. I'll email you after and tell you, but it's so cool to see like what it is now, like you giving people an opportunity to showcase various styles and various topics and stuff, and it kind of fits under the umbrella of what you wanted. Has it been what you expected, or has it exceeded your expectations?
I think like with the network with Sandy Boy Productions, it's been a little bit slower than I wanted it to be, but I think that the reason for that is because of my family life. Like I think I wanted more shows in the network at first, but what I've realized as time has gone on is I'm taking on like the max that I can handle right now, so it's
Right.
growing a little bit slower than I anticipated. I love it. Like right now we have a podcast in our network called Ready to Run, which
Mhm.
got a physical therapist and a doctor out of Boulder who are running a show. And like, I love that they can be part of our umbrella because it fits right in with All Have Another and gives that education piece to the listeners. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think I've intentionally kept it like, let's not get ahead of ourselves because I know how much I can actually handle. Because at the end of the day, like you said, all my kids are going to get home from school and I have so much energy for so many things. But I'm having so much fun with it. Like I can't believe that I'll have another's been going on for 6 years now. And that one doesn't get old. It's just like there's always new athletes, there's always new talent coming up or people that come up out of nowhere and you're like, wow, I have to get the story behind that. And that's my favorite part. It's just sharing people's stories and giving them a platform to talk about what their struggles are, or what they're excited about, or just what they're passionate about.
Is that why you wanted to start not just I'll Have Another, but Why Is Everyone Yelling?
Well, Why Is Everyone Yelling is a podcast for parents or people helping raise kids. And I started that because I found that on All Have Another, I really did enjoy episodes where I talked to other parents, but I knew that I wanted to keep the focus on running on that podcast. And so I was like, there needs to be a totally separate place for this. And then also, I just had questions and was reading my own books about parenting and different ways to go about things. And I was just like, if I have all these questions, I can answer them and ask them on, a podcast where other people can benefit. And I really just didn't want it to be more noise, though. That was my biggest thing because there's
Yeah.
so many podcasts out there, so many parenting books and blogs and podcasts, and I wanted it to be something where people could walk away being like, okay, that empowered me. I don't feel shamed, but I feel like I have some tools to do what I want to do, or I just feel like I connected with someone and what their messages really resonated with me. Like I don't feel so alone, because parenting can feel really lonely sometimes.
Honestly, I feel like the next step in your career is just like opening a school called Lindsey's House of Podcasting or something like that, or the Lindsey's Educational Institute of Parents and Running, because it is educational. There are things that, listen, I'm not a runner. Like I've said it on the show multiple times. My exercise are nice long runs to the refrigerator, and stuff. I've never, I competed in track and field, obviously, and coach, but just it's a new world.
Uh-huh.
But you're able to get, and it's a new world. I don't know if I'm, I'm ever. Now I will say this: the marathon is in Orlando, and I am pumped because I'm born and raised, live here.
Oh,
Um,
really?
oh yeah. So
Oh, cool.
I know where the finish line is. I know where it's going to start. I'm curious about the course.
Yeah.
Because I go to Lake Yola. I mean, it's in downtown Orlando. Um, but I don't know. It's interesting and it's inspiring. But you seem to have a passion for people, and maybe just talking to people. If I'm wrong, because you could be like, no, I don't really care for people or whatever the case might be. But bills have to get paid. But it kind of, can see it, when you talk to these athletes and you talk to just the different guests that you have on the show. Where did your passion for people and getting to know people and share their stories originate? Have you always had it?
Yeah, I think I get it from my dad. I mean, he doesn't host a podcast or anything, but he's like, I always say he's like the mayor of Bloomington. That's the city I grew up in Indiana. He just
Okay.
he knows everybody. He talks to everybody. He's best friends with everybody. Like came from the type of family where like anybody would just show up on Christmas, and it's not, it's just like, oh, so and so's here. Oh, that's my friend from my friend of a friend. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
my dad just was always inviting people into our house, and he knows everybody. And so I think that extroverted personality comes from him. My mom is very welcoming, and but she's not super extroverted. She kind of just like does her thing.
Right.
So it definitely comes from my dad. And then I don't know, I love to hear, I don't know. It's funny because now that I've hosted the podcast for so long, sometimes I find myself in party situations or somewhere just like asking question upon question
Oh,
upon
it's
question.
I know, it's like, listen, I need you to come on Lactic Acid. Let's talk more and stuff like that.
Yeah. And
Uh,
it's like, oh, wait, you're not interviewing this person. You are in a social setting at a party.
but sometimes, you see, those are hard because sometimes it's like hit or miss. Like if I'm at the store, usually I have my earphones on at the store, and that means don't talk to me. Sorry,
Uh-huh.
people, but I'm just kind of like, especially,
Totally.
yeah, especially if I'm in a hurry
Yeah.
and there's a lot of people. It's like I'm listening, to my Christmas music. I'm, chestnuts open on a roasting fire when it's 85 degrees
In
outside.
Orlando.
It is so freaking hot. I don't even know why I have this doggone jacket on. It's like
Uh,
83 degrees.
really?
Yeah, it's like, dang, like when
Dang.
is, but it's like you get used to it. And I pray
Uh-huh.
every year. I said, Lord, what do I have to do? Is there like an amount of offerings? Like, do we need to go back to the Old Testament where I'm like sacrificing tofu and rams to like get colder weather? And then cold weather here is like when it's 70 degrees, listen, there's a song, apple bottom jeans, boots with the fur, that listen, that's
Uh-huh.
what it is down here.
You're getting
Not for
bundled
me.
up.
Oh, not for me. That's just this, shirts and shorts, but it gets
Mm-hmm.
lit. You got the Tom Brady Uggs out walking the streets. But um it kind of seems, it's funny, like I said, the social settings, when somebody comes and talks to you, then it's like, okay, well, we can kind of roll it that way. But at the same time, um I don't know, it's just kind of thinking about what you said, it sounds like you kind of grew up in a Hallmark Christmas movie. um because it's just like
Oh, I know,
everybody's,
because like people just showing up.
and like everybody's friends with the mayor, and the mom is, she's not out leading the charge, but she's so sweet, and she helps everybody, and everybody loves her, and like the kids are like outgoing. It's like, honestly, and I started to ask this question, like, what would, if Hallmark, was like, we want to do a movie about you. It's kind of like, it would be, we grew up in Candy Cane Lane Falls, and
I
you went
mean,
off.
I think I made it sound more like beautiful and perfect than it was.
I'm
Um,
for it. Listen, it gives everybody hope. Like, you can.
yeah, my parents were really young when they had us. My mom was 19 and my dad was 21, and they didn't have any money. And then my dad kind of went out on his own and started a roofing business. And so that's what my dad's always like, you're a roofer's daughter. You are tough, you know?
That
Um,
Midwest swag. I got you.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then my mom, she actually went to nursing school when I was like 6 and my little sister was 3. She would like take my little sister with her to like anatomy lab. And,
Oh.
it's funny when she tells a story because at the time we thought she was like, so old. And she, she was relative to the other college students that were like 19 and 20, but really she was like 25. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she was actually super young. But yeah, my parents kind of, since they had us so young, like they were like growing up with us and built their life with us when we were little. And my dad traveled a lot because he was like roofing McDonald's roofs all over the,
Oh.
like from Indiana down to Florida. Like he was always on the road doing that. Um, but so I feel like my mom did most of the parenting
Right.
when we were little.
I got you.
But yeah, I mean, there was one Christmas where my dad had a friend who was like on house arrest for something, and he was like staying at our house for a few days, and he just like
Oh boy.
was with our family, like opening Christmas presents with us on Christmas morning. And I don't
Oh
know.
no. Mm-mm,
But he,
mm-mm, mm-mm. No, no, the devil is a liar. No, I mean, you're no. That's some Santa Claus level stuff that I can't. Somebody got an ankle bracelet, and you're
I,
spinning. I can't do it.
I mean, and there was one like summer where this like 15-year-old girl who was like a friend of my dad's daughter that was having troubles, like lived at our house for 3 months. Like, I don't know, there's just always something. And maybe that is where part of where my connection to people outside of my family comes from. Like, I find a very real need to connect with my community and people around me, specifically people who like live around me. Like I want to
Yeah,
know all my neighbors. And yeah, I mean, I think that it feels like a gift that my dad gave me that.
it is a gift. And it's a gift that he has, and your acceptance of other people and willingness to learn. Um, the house arrest thing is crazy. Like, I've
Isn't
never
that
heard of that.
funny? I
I've
know.
never.
It's so random. I should ask my dad. I don't even know if that guy, I'm like, is he still alive? I don't
It's
know.
like, yeah, how he doing? Let me tell
Yeah.
you.
What's he up to these days?
Have you? Oh, that's one thing I did want to ask before we switch gears for a second. How was that movie that you posted about
Which
the
one?
the Country Creek Coyote thingy
Oh, the
Christmas?
country Christmas. It was perfect for a fold the laundry, like need to escape kind of situation.
Okay,
It
okay.
wasn't my favorite, but I need suggestions if you have suggestions for the best, worst like Christmas movies.
Oh boy. Okay. On like Hallmark or
Yeah, like I don't want,
Lifetime or
yeah, like don't tell me about like you know, what's the one that everybody talks about? Love Actually. Like I don't, not
oh,
something like,
that's
not like Home Alone, Love Actually, not like the classics, just like a terrible one that
like the cheesy ones.
yes.
There's one called the Chris. This is bad, and my mom watches, and we have a tradition. We watch some of them, and we sit down and talk about how bad they are or how
Oh, that's
cheesy it
good.
is. But they just had one called, I think, A Southern Christmas,
Okay.
which was actually really good.
I'm writing that down.
A Southern Christmas.
Okay.
There was My Christmas Prince with Tamara Mowry.
Was that good?
It was actually really good.
Because
So
I also watched the Christmas Noel Story, and I did not like that one.
Oh no.
Did you watch that one?
You see, I cut it off.
Yeah, I did too. It's the guy from that really popular show. He's the brother.
I know what you're talking about.
You know
the Bennett. No, I do know who you're talking about.
This Is Us. It's the brother from This Is Us.
I know who you're talking about. His name escapes me.
Okay. Yeah.
There's a movie called Christmas in Rome.
Okay.
I'll email it to you.
Please do. Put those in the show notes.
I will. No. Nobody can see this. May have to cut this out, but still. Yeah, I will. There's a few, and it's just like weird. If you're sitting down and you're editing or you're doing something like that, it's like, all right, these kind of slap a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But Lifetime and Hallmark, they just kind of feed ideas off of they use the same actors.
And totally.
And then it's just like, I just saw this movie at 2:00 and it's 4:00 and it's just the same movie, just a different channel. So I'm like, if I can write a movie, like, listen, I will write a movie just based on, James Brown's as Santa Claus Goes Straight to the Ghetto or something like that. But we'll get back to the podcast and stuff in a second. But what are 3 things that people do not know about Lindsey Hein?
Oh, that's a great question. Maybe people know if they listen to my podcast, they probably know I had suffered from severe anxiety.
Really?
Yes. We won't have to go deep on that, but that's one thing.
We don't need to.
Nope. That I think I also have a little bit of OCD, which is not super fun, but that's been something that's been with me since I was maybe 3 or 4. Third thing. Trying to think of something random. I've only been to Mexico. That's the only outside of the United States I've ever been. So I'm a very scared flyer, and that's something I've been working on for a long time. So that's probably one of the reasons I haven't left the country much.
Listen, let me tell you something about the planes. Yeah, I don't know how my first flight, we were going to Washington, D.C. It was on a school field trip.
Mm-hmm.
The sky is it is pouring rain and it's windy, and the pilot's like, we have to fly up a little bit. So I'm like, okay, Lindsey, when I tell you I thought Jesus was coming, I thought Jesus was
because he went straight up.
He went up. I'm like, is this a roller coaster or are we going somewhere? Ooh. And then it was like, okay, we're running into turbulence. We're going to see a slight drop. Boom. I'm like, and I'm on the plane, and there's a couple of my classmates, and we're in the back screaming, Lord, we gonna die. And they're like, listen, we're gonna be okay. There's something about those planes, especially when they take.
It's so cool though that like it can handle that, and that's part of just giving up the control. But I've actually never been in a situation like that, and I'm terrified to be, because I'm afraid I'll just lose my mind.
We flew, where was I? I don't know if I was coming back from the pre-classic or whatever, but there was a hurricane.
Mm.
Oh, good God in heaven, you are holy. I forgot the hurricane. We've been hit with 2 this year, so anything after this year, I usually forget. But whatever, we were flying. I don't know why. I don't know, but we were coming back. I can't even remember, but we flew into it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, why can't you just, and my flight was delayed like an hour or 2. I was like, why can't you just delay it more until the storm passes over?
Yeah, can we just wait? I'd rather not I think I maybe would elect to not get on, even though even if they are saying they're only going to do it if it's safe, I think I might just say, never mind.
You see, when I tell you that, and the guy next to me was and thankfully there was nobody in the seat because he was shaking and everything. And I was like, brother, I'm gonna be strong for the both of us because that was
It's
that.
almost better when the person next to you is freaking out because you feel like you have to be the calm one for them.
Yeah, and I'm just calm, cool, and he's like, "Oh God, I hate turbulence," and I'm like, "Oh, you really can't say anything now." So I'm just like standing there, just like, Lord, is this it? Am I coming home?
I
you
know
know,
that's a thing. It's not in my control.
Not in my control. Listen, you are brave. I wouldn't fly to Mexico. It's hard for me to fly to Atlanta, let
Yeah,
alone outside. Anything over the water
I
terrifies me.
know. I know.
Um, but listen, those are, I think you join millions of people. The more you fly, like, I feel like the braver we get.
Totally. And I mean, I feel like I stopped myself from doing some things for a while because I was like, ooh, that means I'd have to fly there. And in this past year, even I've done a couple of work trips where I'm like, you know what? I'm doing this. I want to do this. I even proposed that I come instead of someone asking me. And, I it's hard for me to leave my kids and I get anxious about that. So I've just kind of decided with that, I'm like, I have to live my life. And one thing I repeat to myself when I'm on the airplane specifically is like, don't live small. And to a lot of people, it's like not a big deal to hop on a plane to Chicago. But to me, it felt like a really big deal. And so I just repeated to myself, like, don't live small. Don't live small. Like, go do the thing you want to do. Don't let anything like this stop you. And so, it's a big deal for me. And I
It
know people
is.
that travel like every single week, but for me, it feels like a huge accomplishment every time I do it.
I know, it's like I'm so proud of myself
Yeah.
and everything. So no, I'm with you. I like that mantra. Don't live small. Listen, I used to, oh, this is embarrassing, but I'll say it. I'm terrified of heights.
Mm.
So, I used to be afraid to go up the escalator at the mall.
Mm-hmm.
Like we would always have to go up the elevator, and God bless my mother's heart, because I know she was just
Come
she
on.
she was struggling and straining. It's like, boy, you ain't gonna fall off. And I was like, yes, I am. I'm gonna fall back. I'm gonna die, and all that stuff. But hey, the little victories are still victories.
Totally.
When you are not parenting four wonderful kids and doing an amazing job with 32 podcasts, releasing 4,627 episodes a year, what is life like for you? Like the fun stuff.
The fun stuff. I love hanging out with friends, going for runs. I love to read. I know that sounds super boring.
No, it
Love to
doesn't.
love to go to the beach. I think one of the reasons we moved to North Carolina from Indiana is because we would have more beach access. We're 2 hours from the ocean here, and so that felt like life changing being landlocked in Indiana. But honestly, I spend a lot of time with my family. Like, I probably need more breaks for my kids than I let myself have. It's been weird though, because we moved a year and a half ago away from our families, away from our communities. And so we don't have as many people here that we're friends with. So it's lent to a lot of time with our kids, and it's good. I'm happy for it, but also it will be nice once we've been here a little bit longer to get to know more people and be more involved in the community.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's so boring and basic, right? Like, I read books. I like to watch Seinfeld, like the most
Oh,
basic things.
what is this obsession with Seinfeld? Like, I don't. I've watched Frasier Crane on. I've binge watched Frasier. I've watched NBC's The Good Place, obviously New Girl, and all this stuff. But people come on and say, "Listen, you will watch." I've watched Everybody Loves Raymond,
Yeah,
which should be Everybody Hates. I don't hate Raymond. I hate Marie,
yeah.
but everybody's like, you are going to turn into a habitual Seinfeld watcher. And I'm like, do not put that evil on me. Like, why
I'm.
would I?
I mean, I love it. Although we were watching it the other day, like season one, and I was like, wow, some of this is really problematic. They would never air that today.
Oh my
But
gosh.
I do think, I don't know, the simplicity of it and just like the easy, simple, clean humor. It's like an escape for me. And also love Curb Your Enthusiasm. I don't know if you've watched
Oh
that
yeah.
one. Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I will say Seinfeld, there's a few things. See, I'm 28, so I grew up in the 90s.
Yep.
There are a few things that are on today. that I watched growing up that would never
Oh, I know.
get the air. I'm like, I used to watch like Rush Hour.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, ooh, just the first 15 minutes. I was like,
Yes.
oh my gosh.
Can't believe it.
Like, how are they still replaying this? Like
Right.
having Rush Hour marathons and
Do they
stuff.
not have this edited out by now? I cannot believe it. No, I know. It's
I
crazy.
I don't think what you're saying is boring. Like
Really?
a good book, no. And take it just for I don't here's the thing. I don't say I was social, but I would go out and hang out with friends and stuff like that. But there's an element of being true to yourself
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of understanding like what works for you. And I think if you have the chance to read a book, go for it. Like I think that's a good thing. I think because it stimulates your mind, it helps relax your mind. If you well, I think when kids get older, I just speak for me. Um, you parents will get more time because like the older I got, the more I just wanted to explore, like
Mm-hmm.
hanging out with friends. And the school I went to, uh they they had a lot of money. I did not have any money.
Mm-hmm.
And so they live in these mansions and stuff. And so I'm, Mom, can I go to their house?
I'm
And
gonna
it's
go hang out
just
in their pantry.
yeah, like their pantry's bigger than my house. And I'm like, I'm getting lost. No, one kid, I got lost and I called. I was like, I don't know where I am. And then they're giving me like instructions and stuff. And it's crazy, when your house has wings to it, go outside the left wing and then make a right to
Oh
the
yes.
exit.
Oh yes.
Um, I
Oh
was like,
yes.
my gosh, your house is big as a Walmart. Like if there's like an emergency, I always thought like Tyler Perry has this massive mansion that's the size of 2 football fields,
Does he?
and yeah, it's brand new, and so it was funny like seeing on Twitter because they're like, how does he get mail delivered? And one of the mailmen commented, they just said, we just leave it at the front gate. And somebody has to go walk a mile to go up and get it. But it's like, he has to have like a medical team in his house because like, if you have a heart attack or something like that, like how the heck is this a paramedic? Like,
Gonna get
enter,
there.
yeah, go through the gate, get to the left wing, and then go to the parking garage, use the elevator, and then you'll be in the kitchen or something like
Like,
that.
what's he doing right now? What's Tyler Perry doing right now?
I don't know, but if he could sponsor both of our shows, I would appreciate that.
Yes.
That's all I say. People like Shaq and Tyler Perry, they have restoration money. Like
Yes. Just
yeah,
hand it out. Wouldn't it be so fun though to be that rich? You just like everywhere you went, you could just leave like $200 tip like to your barista, you know?
it's not even $200. They leave like $4,000 tips and stuff like that.
Be so fun.
Like that would be awesome because like you could change the course of like somebody's life.
Yeah.
But yeah, a barista getting the $200 tip, that is a big deal.
Yeah.
And listen, this holiday season, y'all make sure you tip. Like don't
Yes.
be cheap. Make sure you tip the hard working people. But I don't know what I guess Tyler Perry's making Medea movies or some crap like
Yeah.
that.
He's hanging out with Oprah for sure.
Oh whatever.
They're like best friends.
Yeah, whatever. Uh, I actually saw that you're actually pretty dope when it comes to cooking. Like, maybe that video was from like watching you slice a cucumber and then me being jealous because usually I almost cut my hand off when I'm using like sharp objects.
You probably saw my prep dish ad. No, I would love to think that I'm good at that, but really my husband is the one who does 90% of the cooking in our house. Like he
Really?
is, yes, he will just throw together whatever. And for me, I have to have like a 12-page recipe, complete silence so I can like focus. And um I think I'm a little ADHD with that kind of stuff. So I'm just not good at that. So he is the cook in our house. I do more baking. Like I used to make all of our kids' birthday cakes,
Oh,
but I don't do that anymore either.
well, here's the thing. I learned this the hard way the other night. Because in the kitchen, I have my earphones on and I'm dancing and I'm, just making it rain and all that stuff and, putting on the salt like the Salt Bay guy. on Instagram. You better have some control, because if you miss a step, it just screws up the whole
Uh-huh.
operation.
Totally.
So so if you're making birthday cakes, that's just not like your average home bakery. Like, that's
It's
pretty
hard.
serious.
It's hard to because it gets dry real fast if you keep it in too long.
Oh, listen, I don't do that baking crap. I can't. I do it, so it just sounds like you should have been on the holiday baking championships or something like that. I don't know. That would be dope, though. Like,
I
if
wouldn't go
you,
far.
why do you say that?
I've done like designs too. Like I've done like Power Rangers, Paw Patrol. My Paw Patrol birthday cake for my son's 5th birthday, I think was really good, but it looked better than it tasted. It didn't taste bad. It was just kind of dry. And the neighborhood who I had only known for like a month was like, "Yeah, this cake's pretty dry."
Oh, somebody really. Oh, they tried you, Lindsay.
And I'm
See,
like, "How do you even like know if cake is dry or not? You're 9."
somebody really came up and said, "You see, I don't know. You see, I don't know how I will handle that."
Well, listen, yesterday I picked my other son's friend up to come over to our house and play. And he gets in my car and he looks around and he goes, why is this car so dirty? And I was
Oh,
like, because I have 4 kids and we live a lot in this car. Okay. And then I just laughed.
you see, you're a really nice person, and I honestly believe that one day when you stand before the Lord, He's gonna have a crown for you that says you. Because me, you see, I can't do that.
I just told myself his mom probably would have been mortified if she knew he said that and that
Oh, I
they're
would have.
a
You
nice
different.
family.
They could be a nice family, but it's different, because if you came in my car, why are your car so dirty? Okay, get out. You can
Well, the
walk home.
funny thing is, I don't think that my kids would even notice if someone's car was dirty. Probably because our car is so dirty.
Wait, I don't.
They better not say it either if they do notice.
That's what I'm saying. Like, your car dirty, your cake dry. Mm.
And these were 2 different friends, just for the record. They're different people, but still.
They
Again,
different people, but they need an attitude check,
uh-huh. Uh-huh.
because oh my gosh, that got my blood pressure fired up, because I just go back to my childhood.
Uh-huh.
And shout out to Yvonne Wilson. Yvonne didn't play that. We're a little different down here. Um, I would have never fixed my lips to disrespect. Somebody gives you a slice of Power Ranger cake, and you say, "Ew, your cake dry." You know, I don't.
Problem.
You're a good person. If anybody tells you otherwise, then they jealous. Oof, I need to change subjects before I can say something that get me in trouble. What brought on your love for running? I'm actually genuinely curious about that.
Yeah, I started running when I was 15. My best friend at the time encouraged me to join the cross country team with her.
Oh,
I did not like really want to do that, but I did. And I was decent at it for the smallish school that we went to. And so I was like, I don't know, I was like our 4th or 5th runner. And so I was on the varsity team and just kind of became ingrained in my life, you know, and ran through high school. We made it to the state meet, which for us was a really big deal. We didn't place high. I didn't place high. I was like way at the back, but
hey, you were
um,
there.
I kind of learned about team culture and running for something other than just yourself, like being part of a team, which is one of the common threads, I hear about on my podcast is how cool that team environment is, even as the pros are racing today. So many teams out there, but then I just stayed in shape. I tried to stay in shape through college. Movement was just always going to be part of my life. And after college, my husband and I decided to run our first marathon, and the rest is history. We just kept on running them. And then I just ran my most recent marathon. I ran in New York City this year, and it was a very hot and humid and very tough day out there. But yeah, I guess it's been 15 years since my first marathon.
Wow. So how many in total? I think
I think
20,
it's 17.
21.
No, I think
Oh
it's
boy,
17. Yeah.
that is a
Um,
lot.
I've had a lot of like baby breaks in there.
Oh yeah. No, I get it.
uh,
I get it. Yeah.
yeah, it was like I did a ton uh, before I had kids. And then I would kind of like put one in like between kids, like actually between my first and second, I did 3. And then between my second and third, I didn't do any. And so it was kind of scattered out. But yeah, it's just pretty much part of our lives. My husband's a big runner too. He does not run for speed anymore, and I don't really either, but we both, it's just part of our life and the culture of our family, really. Like our kids just know that's what we do.
How has it impacted maybe the way you ask questions or just kind of your podcasting style? Because you can come to them, you may not have a check mark or 3 stripes, but you're a runner too. You ball out.
Yeah, I think it's important to how I interview. Especially it's really fun when I interview people after races that I've actually been a part of. Like
Yeah,
that New York City Marathon series I just did. Like I had also just run the race.
yeah,
It is a completely different race for me because I'm running with the normal people. But it's cool because when they're talking about certain parts of the course and stuff, I really can relate and know where they're talking about and what they're talking about. And I know as fast or slow as you run a marathon, like the pain that you feel towards the end of a marathon, um, you don't know it unless you've done it.
yeah.
So yeah, I think it's important, and I don't think I would be interested. I don't think I would be as interested in what these people are doing if I didn't know it really to my own core.
How did you get the name Sandy Boy Productions? I love it. Like that
Oh,
is,
thanks.
I love it. Sometimes I see these names. I'm like, Lord, why didn't I think of this first?
My youngest son, his name is Sandy.
I
And
love it.
yeah, I love Sandy for a boy. I don't know why. It's kind of like you hear the name Sandy, and I think most people think of like a 50-year-old woman working at some like clerical office job or something. But but there are some famous male Sandys.
Like who?
Sandy Koufax, baseball player, right?
Yeah.
Um,
The only one I know is Sandy Cheeks, and she
there's
was a
another one that
character.
my husband always talks about. But yeah. And so his name is so I needed to name this podcast network, and my husband actually came up with Sandy Boy. And I was like, and then we'll just put productions on it. And I don't know, Sandy Boy, like I have 4 boys. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but Sandy for sure came from my youngest son's name.
I'm looking up famous dudes. So Sandy Allen, Sandy Alomar Jr. and Senior.
Is Sandy Koufax popping up?
No. Sandy Becker, Sandy Cohen, Sandy Frank, Sandy Collins, Sandy Gunn, Sandy Hogway. I'll add it to Wikipedia later. Sandy Koufax. And that's how we'll that's how we'll, but oddly enough, they're all baseball players.
Oh,
So
yeah. Yeah. That's so funny.
they're baseball players and politicians, interestingly enough. So, like I said, the only one I really ever knew was like, well, then she's a female. Well, she's a squirrel, but Sandy Cheeks on SpongeBob. But other than that,
Ah,
like that's like the most famous. A couple more questions, then we're gonna wrap this bad boy up with a bow. What do you have you ever thought about the impact that you've had in this podcasting game? Like,
hmm.
because you and I sincerely say this, just I've listened to about 15 episodes. And it's something that I enjoy.
Oh,
It's
thanks.
just like I'll sit down and listen. I was like, all right, this kind of dope. You learn more about the runners and stuff, and you learn more about yourself because you found this great balance of making it feel like a conversation
Mm.
by pouring yourself into it instead of like a I hope I never come across anybody because I love you guys, but it's not an NPR,
Yeah. Yeah.
conversation. But you've built such a reputation and such trust with athletes that they feel comfortable coming on the show, and you're growing. You're on the relay site with some pretty dope people. Have you thought about the impact that you've made in this podcasting community with your platform?
I guess I haven't really thought about the impact I've made. Nothing makes me happier than when someone's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so grateful for your show because it got me through my long run." I'm like, "Oh my," because when I hear things like that, it's like, "Oh, this is all worth it." You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like people take something from these episodes and people enjoy it. Um, and I'm learning every day too. I think that I would never be like, oh, I'm the best podcast host out there. Like I'm learning every day too. Like I mess up every day too. Like there are plenty of times in interviews where I'm like, oh shit, why did I say that? You know what I mean? Like
Oh yeah.
it's
Oh
and
yeah.
then you're like, I'm gonna ask that again, or I don't know. Or you second guess yourself. You're like, was that offensive? Did I offend someone by saying that? And but I hope that it has encouraged somebody to like go do what they want to do. Because when I wanted to start my podcast, podcasting wasn't like super popular back then. It was like, I mean, I had listened to Serial and there were a couple of shows I really liked, but it wasn't as rampant as it is now. And I did not know what to do or how to do it. And there wasn't as many resources as there are now. But I just like figured it out and it wasn't super fun to figure out, but I did. And I don't know, it can be embarrassing to put yourself out there because you're afraid people won't care, people won't want to listen, people will think, who do they think they are?
Yeah.
Uh, but what I found is when I'm proud of the work that I do, I'm excited to share it. Like if
Yeah.
I'm proud of a conversation I've hosted, I want everybody to listen because I hope that it can impact them and bring positivity to their lives. Um, so yeah, it's funny because I was just at my 4-year-old son's like Christmas program and he kept his head down the whole time and was like so embarrassed and all the other kids are singing and he just sat like this. And first of all, I was like, why are we forcing kids to stand in front of a crowd and sing if they don't want to? Like that
You
looks, you
it's so
know,
weird.
that looks he looks like horrified up there. He doesn't want to be up there. But secondly, like I was always really scared to be in front of a crowd or public speaking, or I hated giving group or like presentations in front of the classroom. Historically, the story goes in college, I took like 2 shots before my public speaking presentation because I was like so nervous to stand in front of my class.
Man.
But all that to be said, like I gave it a shot and now like I love speaking in front of a crowd. I love being behind a microphone and it's kind of funny that I would have never pegged myself to do something so public. You know, it's like smaller compared to a lot of things, but it's definitely a public place that I'm putting my voice out there and so yeah, I hope it's inspired people to like go do the thing that they maybe weren't so confident in but that they really wanted to do.
I see. Great answer.
I
But
just rambled so much.
no, it was a great answer and it's very inspiring. No, but you made a great point about forcing these kids to be a part of these doggone plays.
Why are you?
Like, like
He did not want to be up there.
I went to a private school and they used to make us go to the kids' Christmas play. And you got all these little second and third graders and stuff. And then you got all these, they're looking and just like, oh, you see all the big kids and all this stuff. And then I was like, I feel bad. Like, keep on fighting, Johnny. Like, you got this, man. Like, I don't know if I ever experienced, I was Santa Claus in my school play. So, that was obviously, different.
Best job in the
So,
world there.
listen, Black Santa I don't even know if I had a uniform still. I hope I do. I hope I have the picture, but I don't know. You got like 50-pound kids, and I'm on a sleigh, and they're pushing me on the sleigh and stuff. So I'm like, oh no, like I don't want nobody to see me fall off. So I understand the stage fright and all that stuff, but no, it's public speaking is hard, but I don't know. You make it look so easy. Like I said, it's not listening to your episodes. It's not like you're talking to strangers. Even the people who come on the show and they use like big terminology and big concepts, you have a way of like, I don't want to say humanizing it, but it's like you're talking to your homeboy or whatever the case might be. Last 2 questions, then we're going to get a quick rapid fire, then we're going to get on out of here. What's it been like working with Relay?
Oh, it's fun. It is such a cool group and concept. Matt Chittum is like the brains behind that. And I was hesitant at first because I was thinking, can I get more content out there? Like I'm already putting so much content out to the world. Do people want to hear more? But the diversity and the different types of things people are putting out, I think collectively is really exciting. a lot of, yeah, we're all runners, but like we have different interests in the realm of the sport. And the group is just, everybody in the group is so awesome and kind and supportive. And it's actually been a really great outlet for me because, like I was saying earlier, I don't feel like I have a team to work with. And so this every other week we get on a call, and yeah, it's just a really supportive community of people. And I think the credit goes to Matt because he really put that together.
Last question. What when this podcast and stuff is hard. like I'm a one man show on this.
Yeah.
Editing
Yep.
is not my favorite. And then you're fighting, you're looking for sponsors, and then you have to fight against the comparison culture and
Totally.
and all that stuff. And listen, I have my struggles. I do, especially, we're a year and about 4 coins old and stuff. So it's still difficult. But for you, especially, you've been doing this since 2016, if I'm not mistaken. I think
Yep.
that's when your first episode came out.
That's right.
What, in the midst of all the craziness, you're hosting your podcast, multiple, you're finding guests, you are running, you're parenting, all that stuff. What encourages you and gives you a reason to smile at the end of the day, and it keeps you going?
Well, I find that I just really enjoy the work. Like I really enjoy the interviews, and that more than anything is why I do it. And connecting with people, getting the editing off my plate, like that brought me a lot more joy because I found that when I was doing all the editing and producing, I wasn't giving myself enough time to adequately prepare for interviews and do the things I needed to do to make my show the best it could possibly be. I think I did fine. I got by okay. But now I don't have that. I mean, if you can get that off your plate, that is just, it's huge. And then, just like my kids, that's what it is. It's, that's I'm in a weird phase of parenting where I'm out of the baby and toddler years. And, in like 5 years, kids are going to start pushing away from me because that's what you do. You brought that up. Like, that's what you do when you're a preteen and teen. And
Time
so,
out. I ain't say them kids was going to go away from you, because let me tell you something. I'm 28 and I need my mother now more than
well, thank you for
ever.
saying that.
So let me, because I've actually had parents like, oh, they're going away. Listen, your kids are not going away from you. There's going to come a time where they realize two things. All the stuff in my head, the stuff my mother was telling me at 14 still rings true. And I tell her, I just like, dang, like it's still all the lessons, everything. Kids will never stop needing their parents, especially their mom. So let me just clear that up. Let me just clarify that. So,
are you keeping in touch with your mom a lot though? Because I do get like because I have all boys, and I know that girls are more likely to like touch base at home once
every
they're out
day.
of the house every day.
She's my best friend. Yeah.
Okay.
Day.
All right. Well, hopefully of the four, I at least have one of those.
You will, honest to God's truth, you will probably have all four. I'm just being like, even the ones that go off, and maybe if they move away, y'all, and that's the thing. People, I think they kind of watch the Hallmark stuff, and it's like, oh my gosh, they want to get away. They don't love me anymore. I'm stuck in this.
Do you think about that when you see those movies? You're like, what do you mean you haven't talked to your mom in 6 months? What does that even mean?
Not 6 months, 6 years. I haven't been home in 6 years. I haven't talked to my mom. I don't know what's going on in Silver Bells Falls or Cookie Bread Lane and stuff. I'm like, yeah. And people love this crap. Oh, listen, don't get me to I'm sorry to cut you off, but I just had to.
No, it's true. No, I'm glad that you said that. That makes me feel good. But I do think we're in this like sweet spot where like none of our kids are their like preteen teen selves yet, and also don't have babies or toddlers. Like we're 4 through 10. So I feel like we're in this like sweet spot still. And I'm just really savoring it because they're a whole lot of fun. They fight a lot, like so much fighting, so much wrestling. But I am trying so hard to savor right where we are because I don't know, time goes by fast.
Oh man, it does. Okay, so you have survived the interrogation process.
Okay, thank you.
And we are down to the harder stuff. And
Okay.
this is called down. This last segment is called down the home stretch. I'm going to ask you a few rapid fire questions.
Okay.
I want you to answer them to the best of your ability. If I ask you to clarify, that does not count against the time. If you do not answer these questions as fast as you can, I really don't care. I don't care. It's all good. It's all good. Don't matter. You are playing to be on the proverbial gold medal stand where many great guests have come before you.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
If there was a food that you had to live with and a food that you could live without for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Live with pizza, live without coconut.
What? Ooh, okay. What
I don't
kind
like
of
coconut. I just don't like anything coconut. Like, I don't like the flavor. I don't like the texture.
Not
Coconut
mad
can
at
leave.
coconut can leave. Go on to stay. Gone. No, I'm sorry. Gone away. What kind of pizza?
I like actually there's this pizza place here. I think it's Capital Creations, and they have like tomato gorgonzola cheese, which is kind of weird for pizza.
No.
And it's so good though. So that's the pizza I've been, and I'm a dipper. Like I need marinara sauce to dip my pizza into, not just the crust, the pizza also.
Okay. I gotta ask this question too.
Yeah.
Are you a ranch on pizza person?
No, but
Okay.
I have family members that are. It's like a Midwest thing, I think.
That's crazy because Laura Thweet, the home slice, she's coming back on the show. We're doing a wings episode, and I
I
have to get
love
her.
Laura Thweet.
She is the best. She
She is.
hooked me. She hooked me. I usually dip my pizza in marinara, but
Yeah,
she was
same.
like, "Nah, fam, you got to try ranch."
I mean, I hear it. It doesn't taste bad, but I'm choosing marinara.
Oh, 10 times out of 10, 10 toes down. You already know how we do. All thriller, no filler on the show. If
Where's
Food
Laura
Network,
from though? Because that's a Midwest thing, I think.
Laura's from Colorado.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know how to get down over there in Boulder, but okay.
That
Like I
seems
say,
that does not seem very Colorado to me.
it doesn't. And so we have to have a conversation. Already she already gave me homework and I already did the homework. So y'all be sure to check out that episode in 2 weeks because it will go down on our Wings and Hot Take show.
Love it.
If Hallmark came to you and said you can pick any of the crappy towns, Christmas towns that we have that you could live in, what would draw you to a specific town? What would that town have to have?
Warm weather.
Okay, so we won't be in that. We may have to try Lifetime or Discovery.
Yeah.
All right, that's all good. If you could have dinner with anyone living, I don't do the dead crap, anyone living, who would you sit down and have a meal with?
Oh my gosh. I should have an answer to this question because I ask a question similar on my podcast.
Two people.
Anyone? Two people?
Yeah, maybe that'll make it easier.
Sorry, you're gonna have to edit the pause, huh?
No, I keep it.
You keep it? Oh no. I'm gonna say Oprah.
Oprah, okay.
And
Probably,
man,
but
I follow Oprah on Instagram and she's sharing videos of all the people that were at her house for Thanksgiving. And I'm like, can I get an invite? Like, I want to be a part of this festivity. My secret is that before I do live interviews, or if I have like a really big interview that I'm nervous about, I will always listen to an episode or an interview that Oprah has done because I just think she's like the queen of interviews and I just like soak her in. I don't like copy her questions or anything, but like just like her ease and the way she carries herself, I just soak it in. So Oprah is my answer.
But here's the thing: you're just as powerful as Oprah, so like, just be chill, be who you are. Come on now, that's what we do. If there was a Food Network show that you could be a guest star on, what show would it be?
Oh, we don't watch this anymore. I don't even know if it's on, but we used to really like Top Chef.
Oh, okay. I'm with that. I'm with that. Dream concert that you could attend.
Oh, dream concert. The Beatles.
Oh, I like that. Best era of television.
Seinfeld.
Okay.
That's the whole era.
Okay. So
like Seinfeld, Friends, like that kind of.
I hate both those shows.
That's 90s.
Yeah,
Sorry.
90s. It's okay. Listen, no discrimination. Just because I don't like it
I
don't
do
mean that
love
it's not
Curb.
good.
I love Curb too, though. But like right now, my favorite kinds of shows are like teen dramas. Like I love Never Have I
Really?
Ever. Uh-huh. I love All American. Like I love all the teen dramas. Even though like when you watch, have you watched All American?
I've like heard about it, but I never felt the need to watch it. It's some stuff is too close to reality.
It's well, but I'm like, why do I think this person is hot? Because I'm like 39 years old and I look up their ages and I'm like, oh, they're 30 playing 16-year-olds. Okay, I feel a lot better about myself.
Yeah, so it's like, you're good. You're good. You're all good. So it's like,
But
okay,
that's what I like the most right now for some reason. I think it's my greatest escape probably because I'm so far removed from that age. But Never Have I Ever is my biggest recommendation.
okay. If I'm just trying to think, because that is a common theme. So hey, there's no shame in that. No shame in that at all. If there was oh god, I'm screwing this question up. Actress that you would want to portray your character in a movie.
See, I wondered if earlier you asked me a question. I was like, is he going to ask me who I would want to portray me? And then I forgot to think about it. Um, I like want to get out my phone and look people up. Well, what kind of movie is it? Is it like a drama or like a comedy?
Keep it light. It could be a comedy.
Well, people used to tell me I kind of looked like Courtney Cox, which I don't know if it's like my face or my nose or something, but and I liked her character in Friends, so maybe I'll go with her. But I don't really like that answer. Kristen Bell.
I to see that because Kristen Bell is very you say Oprah, but you and Kristen Bell could be sisters because of how like she's open about her. Well, Kristen Bell came out one day and just said, "I don't like my kids all the time," and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna choose. Yeah, yeah, you're right. I'm gonna choose her. That's a
And
good point.
yes, and she's sweet, she's nice, she's funny. So, like I said, and she's in the podcasting game.
Yeah,
Well, it's in the family,
yeah, it's in
Armchair
the family.
Podcast.
Yeah, I'll go with Kristen Bell.
Okay,
And
couple more.
just so everybody knows, I don't think I look like Courtney Cox. People just used to tell me that sometimes.
Okay, well, listen, all good. Couple more questions. If we could build a train that goes around the world, where would you want to take a vacation, dream vacation spot? And I said a train that way you don't have to go through the air.
Some beach, like some delicious beach with like rooms on the water. Yeah, I feel like I see pictures of stuff like that, and I'm like, those places exist.
Okay. If you were
The
not,
Maldives, I don't know. I feel like that's a
oh,
place
that would be
that
good.
people,
Why do
yeah,
you like the beach so much?
I don't know. It's like calming to me. I like people. People are like, "Are you a beach person or a mountain person?" And we moved to North Carolina so we could be close to both. But the truth is, whenever we can choose, we go to the beach over the mountains.
Oh, for sure. I mean, look, the beach. I mean, I live here in Florida, so I used to go to the beach all the time. I was
Yeah,
done with the beach. I was in the water with a shark,
yeah.
and I was like, it's time to go.
It's over. Our
Yeah,
relationship is done.
I ain't been to the beach since.
Yep.
That's the truth. If you were not a podcaster, what would you be?
Well, I went to school to be a dietitian, but I didn't get my internship because my grades were so bad. So that moved on. I used to do like event planning and communications for nonprofits. So I don't know. I think something along the lines of some sort of communications work.
Last two and a half questions. So this question is a two-part question. If there was a holiday song that describes your life and your favorite Christmas tradition.
Well, I just love Elvis Christmas.
Elvis Christmas, like his Christmas songs, or is there a song that says
His
Elvis Christmas?
albums like Blue
Oh,
Christmas.
that's my oh windows blue
Yeah,
snowflakes.
I
Yeah,
grew
that's the
up
jam.
listening to it. My grandma was obsessed with Elvis, and my grandma had like six sisters, and they all were obsessed with Elvis. And so it was just like always on in the background. And so, and now my grandma, she passed away last year. And so
Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
was like, it's okay. But I was like, I will always carry on her tradition for playing Elvis Christmas. And I don't know, it makes me happy.
I jammed to that song. I danced to
Yeah,
that song.
it's a good one.
With the guitar and stuff, and then I just recently heard him sing Silver Bells, and I was
Uh
like,
huh.
Everybody else. I was like, okay, Elf. It's like, okay, Elvis, I see you. So I guess that would count as your favorite Christmas tradition too. I'm definitely with that. Last question, and it's the most important question you'll answer. Why does kindness matter to you?
I mean, I think it's like all that matters. Like, I don't think anything matters more than that because what, well, like, why else are we here? You know? Um, I think that, like when I see people getting frustrated about the silliest things, like traffic or whatever, I'm like, what's the point? I think that I don't really know why we were all put on this earth. It's like something I think about all the time. It's just like, what even is this? This is wild. Um, but I don't think anything matters more than kindness because if you don't have that, like what do you have?
Yeah. You have survived down the home stretch, and even with the pauses, I did not count them because, in the spirit of the holiday season, you are a gold medalist on the proverbial medal stand. And whenever we get a sponsor, you will get one of those cheap gold medals that cost 99 cents at the United
Nice.
Trophy Store. That's around the corner on Mill. So, where can the wonderful people who are listening to this find you?
Well, if you are into running, I have the podcast. I'll have another with Lindsey Hein. I'm on Instagram, Lindsey Hein 626, and I love Twitter. I'm one of the people still on Twitter at Lindsey Hein. So, and then our website for the network is sandyboyproductions.com. And then I have my personal website is lindseyhine.com. So there's lots of places.
And then I think it's relay.com as well.
Relay's on Patreon. It's like Patreon or patreon.com/relay. We don't actually have an official website because that was like, building websites, if you're going to do it right, it's like super stupid expensive. And
oh, yeah.
We're just like, we just got to get this thing off the ground. So I don't know. Eventually, Relay might have a website, but if you want to be a part of the Relay community, yeah, that's patreon.com/relay.
So, yes, please be sure to follow that. If you have Patreon, please support Lindsey and her wonderful work in the podcast. If you have kids, be sure to listen to Why Is Everyone Yelling? You see, I got it right.
Nice. You got
it. Yes, and stop yelling at people. Lindsey, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Want to shout out to our partner, Track Barn. You get 10% off your order. If you are a coach, an athlete, or anything in between, please shop there. Type in Lactic Acid 10, all caps, no spaces. Do not spell out the number 10, and you will get 10% off your order. Happy holidays, and we will see you next time.